Was Superfly a good villain? Well, from the start, he does establish himself as an intimidating enemy. A young Superfly quickly eliminates a group of soldiers sent under Cynthia Utrum. Their mission was to destroy Baxter Stockman and his mutant family because evil culprit stuff. Utrum is seen again throughout the film and can be seen as the overarching villain. You might be wondering why we didn't do this villain review about her, but her motive involved milking 4 teenage turtle boys. I hope you can understand why we chose Superfly instead. Back to the assault on the lab. It was interesting to see Superfly as this mysterious creature in the shadows, like some scary monster taking down each soldier one by one, until eventually he goes after the last poor soldier. As a last ditch effort, the soldier explodes the lab, but Superfly displays his speed as he escapes quickly with his mutant family. Unfortunately, Baxter Stockman does not make it out alive, and it was surprising how quickly he died, considering how important of a character he is to the franchise. But it is a breath of fresh air to have a new villain. As for Superfly's family, unfortunately most of them don't stick out as much compared to him. Literally the only dialogue from the frog character is this:
"Don't paint your eyes."
Scumbag is somewhat of an interesting wacky character, and Paul Rudd did do a really fun voiceover for Mondo Gecko.
Buzz, they got to go.
It might have been a good decision though not to focus too much on the side villains and give more time to Superfly. The next time we see him is during a heist in town. 2 human bums working for Superfly attempt to steal some parts for a secret project he's working on, but fail in doing so and get pinned down by the police. It was cool to see Superfly swoop in and fly away with a car carrying the parts and the bums back to his evil lair. Now the bums in the car don't know that Superfly is a mutant, so they get terrified when he rips open the van and murders them off screen. This was another surprising part of the film, as we did not expect people to be murdered. We assumed this was a family-friendly kids movie, but Superfly kills people, especially when we get to his villain backstory. Now at this point, we've seen Superfly take down evil soldiers and obliterate 2 men without seeing him fully revealed. He's this mysterious fly creature that has no hesitation to kill his enemies. That's why his full reveal comes off a bit underwhelming. While riding to meet the turtles for another part of his mysterious project, we finally see him fully out of the shadows, coming out of his car and bobbing to his theme song. Superfly shifts from this intimidating enemy into a friendly face as he shares his excitement to see other mutants besides himself and his family. He eventually bonds with the turtles deep enough to reveal his backstory. Picking up from the beginning of the film, after he flew off from the lab with his family in tubes, he did his best to provide for his family in the shadows. He explains how dedicated he was to his family and the lengths he would go to provide for them. But just like the turtles, or tortoises as he calls them in the film, they wanted to stop hiding and come out of the shadows into the human world. They quickly realized that humans weren't so welcoming and were chased away. One crazy dude specifically started chasing them with a bat, and things take a sinister tone when Superfly stops running and kills that man that was chasing them. You see, this is where the divide between Superfly and the turtles come into play. While both are shunned by humanity, the turtles still hold out hope of coexistence, while Superfly, realizing on that day they were chased, believes that the only way for mutants to live out of the shadows would be to shift the balance of power. Mutants have to be on top. He mirrors Magneto from the X-Men as they both try to make the world a safer place for mutants. Things take a turn for the worse as Superfly reveals to the turtles that the secret project he was working on is a giant mutant bomb. The goal of the bomb is to transform all animals on land into mutants to rule over the humans. He tries to justify his motives by explaining how poorly humans treat animals and how inhumane it is to have animals as pets. This made us question for a bit if pets actually enjoy being, well, our pets. Does Superfly have a point? Is my cat thinking of overthrowing me? Anyways, after the turtles reject his sob story and refuse to give him the device he needs for the bomb, Superfly and the gang chase them down, and we get intimidating Superfly back. Oh man, the way he was chasing them down in his car was like a crackhead when he hasn't had crack for a week. The turtles really didn't have a chance as he kicked their asses and flew away with the last part for his bomb. Conveniently, just moments before Superfly is able to drop the bomb, the turtles managed to show up and turn his family against him. It was a bit annoying how quickly his family turned their back on him, especially considering all that he's done for them. But since none of them really stuck out, we didn't mind as Superfly whooped their butts. Superfly establishes his high power level here as he holds his own against the combined efforts of not only the Turtles, his family, but also Splinter. He may even be a bit OP. He almost succeeds in defeating them too, but the team eventually manages to push Superfly and the exploding mutant bomb underwater. Now, Superfly's story would have been fine to end off here. But no, there just had to be a giant monster fight in the end, as a giant Superfly, who is mutated with the creatures of the sea, comes out of the water to wreak havoc on the city. We couldn't help but be unimpressed by his design. It really didn't look that cool and just looked a bit sloppy. We also didn't understand the concept. He had horses for legs, but didn't the bomb explode underwater? How did he mutate with the horses underwater? Those were just a few gripes we had with giant Superfly. Let us know what you thought of giant Superfly in the comments below. And if you can explain why he was able to mutate with horses under the sea. Cutting back to Superfly, at this point his giant version is just uninteresting and feels like it was created just to make stakes higher in the film. Giant Superfly's personality mainly consists of talking shit on Godzilla and being a target for the Turtles and humans to work together to take down. They eventually do manage to take down giant Superfly through his weak spot on the neck, Attack on Titan style. You know what would have been cool? If giant Superfly was like the colossal Titan, and every time someone would come by, steam would go off and just melt them away. That would really have increased his threat level. Regardless, he ends up getting defeated and is quickly forgotten. Just moments after his death, everyone is cheering and Sloppy Mouth is making out with a down bad Splinter. Superfly was really powerful, but as the film progressed, he became less and less intimidating. He let his guard down to the Turtles and turned into a boring giant monster. Although he had a pretty decent debut, there's more excitement for the anticipated villain hinted at the end credit scene.